education in Nigeria? What are the effects? And this lovely morning, may we also use this medium to tell our esteemed listeners that in Nigeria, there has been a long-standing issue of inconsistent policy on education, which has had significant implications for the country's education system. The lack of continuity and coherence in education policies has resulted in various challenges that have hindered the development of a strong and effective education system in our dear country, Nigeria. One of the main issues with the inconsistent policy on education in Nigeria is the frequent changes in leadership and priority. With each new administration, there is often a shift in focus and direction when it comes to education policy. Continuity has led to a fragmented and disjointed approach to education planning and implementation in our dear country, Nigeria. And recently, the new Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, abolished the 18-year admission benchmark for tertiary institutions in the country. He also hinted at the possibility of reviewing the nation's education policy.
Furthermore, the lack of long-term planning and vision for education in Nigeria has meant that policies are often short-sighted and reactive rather than strategic and forward-thinking. This has resulted in lack of consistency in the implementation of policies, as well as a lack of accountability and evaluation of their effect. Another challenge stems from inconsistent policy on education in Nigeria is the lack of adequate funding and to the education sector and consistent policy framework. It's been difficult to secure the necessary financial support and resources needed to improve the quality of education in the country.
Additionally, the inconsistent policy on education has also led to disparities in access to quality education across different regions of Nigeria. Some areas may benefit from certain policies or initiatives, while others are left behind, leading to inequalities in educational opportunities and outcomes. In order to address the issue of inconsistent policy on education in Nigeria, there is a need for a more coordinated and coherent approach to education planning and implementation. This includes the development of a long-term vision for education as well as the establishment of clear goals and objectives that can guide policy development and implementation over time.
Furthermore, there is the need to increase collaboration and consultation with key stakeholders, including educators, parents, students, and community members, to ensure that policies are responsive to the needs and priorities of all those involved in the education sector. By addressing the issue of inconsistent policy on education in Nigeria and implementing a more strategic and coordinated approach to education planning and implementation, the country can work towards building a stronger and more effective education system that provides quality education for all citizens.
Overall, strong and effective education system leading to a range of net effects on students, teachers, communities, and the country as a whole. Addressing this issue and implementing a more coherent and coordinated approach to education planning and implementation is crucial to improving the quality of education and ensuring equal access. Let's look at inconsistency in the education policy in Nigeria. The effect. Who are the stakeholders? How can we have a balanced education system in a country, Nigeria? Third principle, Mr. Adegbare Bukunmi, Adeyinka. Welcome to Morning Flight.
Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Morning, thank you.
Just go straight to business. We're talking about inconsistency in education policies. Now, how often are education policies changed and updated in Nigeria, and what could be contributing to this inconsistency?
Thank you very much. Going back to the history of the national policy of education, in 1965, most landmark policy made in which the decision was taken. In such, we are still using it. They have been revising or re-editing the policy. But the only what we met on ground is the British that is our colonial master. Then we have the policy of 6523, where they put it as bookish policy. In which they want to change it so that it can meet those that are not education fit. So that they now change it into 6334, where the policy says that they introduce some vocational subjects along. But the problem is that some of those people that are supposed to be on ground to manage, to make sure that they contribute to that policy were not there. One, the teachers that are going to teach, that are going to impart those things, and there is wherever the teacher is being well trained, that such policy may fail. Now, for example, now, and some of those tools they brought to the schools then are already outdated, and such some schools are not, and even where they are being given to put such tools to were not implemented. So we can see there that lack of proper planning and funding is a problem in the country, but that is affecting our educational policy.
It's a System 1 in flights on OGBC 90.5 FM, and we've been talking about inconsistent policy on education and its effects. We'll have here in the studio with us to discuss yesterday's Mr. Adegbare, Bukunmi, Adeyinka, about some of the inconsistencies in the policies of education. Now, you talked about some teachers, contribute to this. Now, why do schools really trained, to our children?
Thank you. The school are not supposed to employ the teachers.
Okay.
The employment of the teacher is being done by the Teaching Service Commission.
Right.
But the teachers on ground, we have their own various qualification area, field. But the only area where they now introduce some subjects, mainly syllabus, which is not along to the line of the disciplines of those teachers. And we don't have adequate enough manpower. Those teachers will have to ask to take subjects. And as a result of this, they may not have much knowledge of those kind of subjects. And thereby it may affect, because the implementation is being done by the teachers, where the the Federal Ministry of Education, and thereby where the implementation failed, the policy also failed. Where the policy achieved, the implementation is also being achieved.
Okay.
So the only thing that we can now see is that there must be proper funding of they are not budgets. But going back to the Nigeria system, as far back as 1999, 2010, I can quote that there's not a year, a budget year that is so that's deficit. And such one being deficit, you will observe that proper funding and proper monitoring will not be there. And people might not be have a certain conscience, let me use that word, such as corruption, where such fund supposed to be monitored for a purpose, there might be diverting of such fund.
Okay, if you just tuned in, the program is Born in Flight on your spot station, which is 9.5 FM. We have as guest a retired principal and an educationist, Mr. Adegbare Bukunmi Adeyinka. Now, so how do these policy changes impact students, educators, and educational institutions in our dear country, Nigeria?
Thank you very much. Now, going back to the question, we have the basic, now the change, we have 9-3-4.
That's 6-3-3-4.
4. Have 9. That is that 9 means first 6 years in primary school. You have the junior school making 9. Such that you prepare the learner to further to the senior secondary school of 3 years before furthering his or her education, either tertiary institution, depending on the course of minimum of 4 years. But the problem is that where the number, because of the facility available, the policy we may say that you have to limit the number of repeaters, because some of those learners coming from primary school to junior school, some of them, I can say they are just certified educated. Some of them may not be able to certificate educated in such, they may not even cannot write their name correctly. Now proceeding to junior school, now going back to the senior school. But the problem there is that the teacher will have a lot to do, so that only those that are competent, because I always have in mind that we have choice of learners, we have ready available learners and other types. Ready available learners are always such students that want to, they know the purpose why they are going to school, what they want to become in the future. But other parts, I don't want to discuss them. But the ready available learner, we always make sure these are the learners that they always give good names to that school in terms of their academic performance, or behavior, other character. In even that the learner and the teacher is that they don't know what next is can happen on the policy, because they are not sure of tomorrow. For example, now they may just the commissioner or minister or president, even the governor, can just announce that this policy, for example, look at the new policy they introduced now, that we have 1, 6, 3, 3, 4 again.
Yes.
You can now see that it has changed from the 9, 3, 4 UBE. UBE is 9, that is 6 years. But now they now say 1, 6, 3, 3, 4. That is the education between age 5 a year. Then the primary school education, the junior secondary school education, and senior secondary school education.
Okay.
Thank you so much, sir. Now, you talked about some pupils if they don't repeat classes, it told that they are not supposed to repeat classes. They should just allow them move to the next class. Was that what you said?
To some extent.
Okay, now.
Let me explain that to some
Alright.
extent. Because the capacity, the ratio of the student ratio cum the capacity of the availability of the classroom will determine the enrollment. Am I making sense?
Yes.
Now we determine the enrollment, and where the number of repeaters so large, it will not give room to intakes. Such has to be managed. And I thank God that in Ogun State now, they have now made sure that if you fail English and mathematics in secondary school examination, such learner will repeat that GS receipt for the exam. If you fail the two basics and other, or if you fail outrightly that all the subjects, you will repeat GSS3. And formally, they always just go to
the next class.
The next class.
Senior secondary school.
Now, for those students or maybe pupils who need to repeat a class, now can it not be because the teachers are not teaching them the right way? Now, I want to take you through this means. There are some children that have dyslexia. That means it takes time for them to learn or to understand. So if these teachers don't even know that, there's a certain child that takes time to learn, and the child just ends up failing and then repeating a class. Is there a way this can be?
Thank you. Now, actually, there is no teacher that will not understand his or her learners.
All right.
To some extent, you understand them, but a learner that's always of school 2.
Yes.
Those kind of learners that they are the school 2 type, you cannot compare them to the learners that they are said the ready, steady learners. That we have category of ready, steady learners. No matter the grade of those one, we will see that at least the ready, steady learner, nearly all of them, even the more the policy or the criteria is being changed, they will still meet up. But others who too, they can't.
Now, Mr. Adegbare, are there specific examples of successful or stable education policies from other countries that we can learn from in our dear country, Nigeria?
Thank you. Actually, the whole educational policy in Africa is just being based on our colonial masters. Is directly because they influence us. They are the people that brought Western education, and they want to prepare us towards the policy and philosophy of our country. As a result of that, the Western educational policy, we brought it in. We adopt that policy, and to some extent, we are still using the British policy.
Yes.
Because the only changes that we can now have is that it depends on the need and philosophy of our culture. For example, in the olden days, we have studying of philosophy, law, and other administration courses. But as a result of the advent and discovery of oil, we now change to science. We now change to science such that to have adequate manpower so that we are able to go ahead, look ahead our resources. Presently, that's why we have some schools are science oriented. We have large number of science students in their schools. If you allow me to mention some schools in Abeokuta, I mean,
we can just make do without those schools at the moment.
Yeah. So well, some other area that we have achieved is by presently we can see that the what is in vogue is ICT.
Yes.
What is in vogue in ICT, but some parents with their parental influence, they guide their learners, their pupil, their ward, their children to have such knowledge. Because, for example, now look at our studio. All what I'm using here is on ICT. If you don't have such knowledge, we may not be able to work here successfully. But presently, the school exam are also on ICT now.
Yes.
Okay. I thought it would be 9.5 FM, like the ICT you just mentioned. You can listen live radio.ng, and at the moment we are live on Facebook at Facebook Ogun Radio Abelkuta, and as well on our social media, that is Ogun Radio. Just now open the phone lines this lovely morning for our callers to be part of the discussion this morning. 0803437 9453 and 0215
0320226.
Most definitely. Good morning. Good
Good
morning,
morning,
Ba.
ma'am. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
I appreciate all the guests are set, but I want us to look at some of the issues affecting the job performances and the trade policies we have. In the first place, the policy, there is nothing wrong with educational policy. It's the implementation that matters. We will agree with you that if you say 10, 5, all these are what we are saying. We are all saying education should be implemented in these ways. And when they introduced the 6th grade reform, I think the policy, as the speaker said, would have been a very, very nice policy, which we are now going back to again indirectly. Because if the workshops had been there, if the inmates had been there, if the teachers had been there, they wouldn't have caused problem. But what happened? When the system was introduced, there were not enough teachers, no technical workshops, so many schools could not get access to them. And with time, the whole thing got died up like that. Is it the policy that is wrong or the implementation? It's not the implementation. Lack of equipment, lack of teachers, lack of adequate classrooms, lack of workshops, and as well, the policy just phased out and just brought it away, and they were gotten rid of. So we should always think first when we are implementing education. And when you talk about the success in education, what are the role of parents? Parents who want to achieve or make their children have enough education by trying to say they want to continue. There will be a policy to say parents should not pay for education. How can the government alone maintain education? How is people alone?
Yes, we're with you.
How can the government alone finance education? It's not possible. Let us be realistic. It's not possible. And now people to have freelance or students, parents, and people who are willing to develop schools, let them. But you have some people allow them, maybe for political reasons also. I think the government itself should be frank and let people know where they're going to. And now the state government now, because the policy is driving towards achieving success by making sure that the passes is core subjects, making sure that students are serious, making sure that all students are coming in, and so we are achieving something. So there is nothing wrong with policy. It is the implementation.
Thank you very
And
much.
the implementation is from parents, government, and the school. And the teachers themselves, they should be serious. They are not serious at all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you sincerely. We appreciate you.
All right, numbers again 0803 437 9453. So you can.
Okay. Maybe before you react, we have another caller so that you can just add the two together.
All right.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
ma'am.
Bolaji and
It's okay.
Temitope here.
Temitope, okay, Babalola.
Good morning, ma.
And say hello to your guest there.
Hello, you are welcome, ma'am.
Is my name. I want to talk
Yes.
Yes, the 6334 is a perfect, although I did class 5. It came after I left secondary school. But that book stuff, that book, they should be looking into how academic these books randomly. I don't think it's healthy in our education system. I don't understand.
Thank you
Thank
very
you
much. We appreciate it.
Now, thank you. I will rather start from the there question from our caller. Where some schools change their textbooks for their learner. This is mostly common in our private schools. Mostly common in our private schools, and the Federal Ministry of Education with the NECDC, they are on the subject. It will affect the performance of that learner in that school. And I would have suggest now, using this as an advocacy, that we must make sure, because even it's not okay for the family income. Where you have a senior,
children.
3 children, a brother of just
Siblings.
2 age ahead of the junior one,
Hmm.
or 3 old than the junior one.
Mm.
And you are now saying that what the senior child use is
Younger one
now
cannot
necessary. You cannot the economy of that family
And even
land and family at the same time. So I will make sure that let our Ministry of Education put such law that those textbooks, before they approve the textbook for them, textbook that if they want to sell or the publisher want to, that this year we change your textbook, we make ability in use of such textbooks.
okay, 03-437-9453. Hello, good morning. You still have more to react, so please. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. You're welcome, sir.
Now there is nothing wrong. Is to prepare children for a technical college. How many technical colleges are we having in Ogun State now, for example? How many are we having? That's number one. Number two, how many classrooms are we having? In those good students in a class, even pupils should be between 30 and 35. But you have over 100 in a classroom. How do you expect a teacher to cope with that over 100? Even the marking of the
Spruce.
alone, a lot of the time. But that is how it's going down, how the standard is going down in this country. Not that alone. If you look at the few technical schools that are around, do we have adequate implements there? Look at the secondary schools. We are talking of ICT, science laboratories. So all these things are there. Our problem is always implementation. That 3-3 policy is a very beautiful policy, which will prepare the children, those that cannot go to tertiary institution, go to technical colleges. From the technical college, they can go to polytechnics, thereby having all professionals.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, 003437945. Maybe we'll take one more call, then you react to everything before you give your parting shot on the show this morning.
Okay.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Temitope, and good morning, Bolaji.
Good morning, sir.
sir.
Good morning to Adeyinka.
Good morning, you are welcome.
Okay, thank God I'm also school principal. University where I'm also lucky to have gone through all these steps. When I started school, spent 3 years in the transport country. When we were from secondary and to the primary, and I started that secondary school. Now, my vision contribution is whatever policy we adopt, especially this very important that we are now using. I think I believe that it should not be so implemented. That is when we say that we should get to this first 3 years in secondary school. And we say that we cannot go back again, we can find the question that so that people go to technical schools. I think we should raise that question. We should go to the theoretical students to technical schools throughout the secondary school. We should not be the question that not go to technical school or who are left. The question will be created. That's why I believe that from here, from one secondary school, technical school education, incorporated until they go to the content. For example, when we primary school, we had technical social center where we all went to and learn football and learn some technical things.
Okay.
We should not give that only who are not interested to technical schools. Whatever policy we are making, we should let them go about exposure until they get secondary school. That's what they are.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Even talking about the technical schools not limited to Ogun states, let's say
Definitely.
Nigeria,
Yes.
to make it all encompassing. So your reaction
Now,
and your parting shot because we are short of time.
thank you very much. Now, towards the last speaker said, pertaining to the need of those that have to go back to the technical school.
Colleges, correct.
Let us have that mind, because we can go back to China, because the other developed
Advanced
country. What they did is that they make sure that all their learners, all the young ones, they are vocational oriented, so to develop their economy. And for example, making of phone, some bags, souvenirs, all those
Silver
things,
touch and lamps and all sorts.
it improved there, and we are now buying from them. Now, if the government provide adequate electricity in all schools and have adequate manpower that be able to train these learners, because the teacher at the last desk that's going to implement the policy, we are going to achieve a lot.
Okay.
Now, the other problem here, the various policy on political something is that let the parents have impact in education. For example, where they say don't buy textbook, it contributes largely to the performance of the learner. Let the parents have the notes that they must have certain things to do for their work. But I always say it that it's only oxygen that is free to breathe in. Life is not free to live. We pay for everything. But but such will not be never be our own portion that because those they buy oxygen is 50-50 maybe before they get to the ward or whatever the patient may have gone. But I will now let the parent know that they should have certain things. For example, in humanity class, the learner may not have literature textbooks at all. They don't have, and where such learner may not able to perform very well.
Thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate. Thank you so much for
Sincerely,
your
we most
contribution.
appreciate you. This morning conversation, we've got some text messages asking questions like Mr. Shegun from Idera. Thank you very much about modern day technologies and other questions and recommendations being sent on our social media pages this lovely morning. Well, this morning time, we most sincerely appreciate our guest this morning, an educationist and a retired principal, Mr. Adegbare Bukunmi Adeyinka. Thank you so much for your time on the
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for coming, sir.
and we wish you all the best in all your undertakings.
Thank you.
We want to appreciate those that made today's edition a success. Editors Elizabeth Kuforiji, Lucy Musari, ICT guide Francis Show. The studio manager has been Dr. Have a beautiful rest of your day.